What's good, y'all? So in this video, I'm going to be reacting to Fantastic Hip Hop, how Drake just became the biggest joke in hip hop. You know, Fantastic Hip Hop don't like him. Like, at all. So, he just released his song, Fighting Irish Freestyle, or he didn't release it. It leaked, or someone released it. I don't know. Somehow we have listened to it. I reacted to it. If you're interested in seeing what I have to say, go and check that out. Dissed Kendrick for sure, but like people are saying it could be LeBron, it could be DeMar DeRozan, so I'm not really sure. But let's see what he has to say.
Now, as the new freestyle Drake released is reaching more people's ears both in the hip-hop world and beyond, one thing that has become clear is that with the more attention this song has garnered, and the more people who are hearing Drake's most introspective lyrical performance since going back and forth with Kendrick Lamar during the height of their beef in 2024, beyond the optics and really just flat-out deception of Drake rapping over a beat that would make people who are not fully paying attention to what he is saying think that he is starting to make some sort of a comeback in the rap world, in actuality, as now people have had time to process this record, and from the best rappers in the world to some of the biggest names in the NBA, seeing just how many people Drake was trying to intimidate here, all together with how he tried to convince his rivals that he wasn't the one who lost in this thing, and that also at the end of this all, when the truth comes out, he will be the one who is on top. Overall, while Drake coming back into lyrical consciousness has given us a song that we are at least talking about more than anything else he has released in months, at the same time, delivering a performance like this has allowed Drake's inner thoughts to come out more than we have seen in about a year at this point, and really with the results of this, Drake has just never exposed himself more when it comes to proving on his own account that beyond being one of the most pathetic figures in music today at this point, that he is really one of the biggest jokes of a figure that hip-hop has ever seen. But now, before we go into just how bad the effects of this track are going to end up affecting Drake in the long run, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And so now with Drake and this track, when it comes to what this new freestyle that's not actually a freestyle, because you can clearly see him reading off a piece of paper in the video the song was released with, despite what Drake defenders are trying to say to make any part about this record look like it was...
I think a freestyle can be written as well. It's not like just off the top, but at the same time, with his history, we don't know who wrote that.
And that he didn't even intend for it to be released. This song releasing directly from producer Conductor Williams definitely was intentional on Drake's end, as putting the song out this way allowed for him to get this new message out without having to go through his own label, who he is of course in a whole other mess with. And on top of that, as this song came straight from one of the most desired to work with producers in all of rap music right now, who has also produced multiple major songs for Drake, including the one that was at the center of his last album rollout with none other than 8 AM in Charlotte.
Fire song. Fire. Fire. I don't care how I feel about Drake as of today. 8 AM in Charlotte, he ate mofos up. He ate them up, okay? I'm just being real. He just did what he needed to do. Some of the music following was a little questionable, and then a lot of the music last summer was very questionable.
Producer who has given out beats to now 3 rappers that have dissed Kendrick Lamar with Drake, Joey, and J. Cole put this song out with Drake's approval. And seemingly with the release of this freestyle, which Drake assumed that because it was coming from a skilled beatmaker who has a lot of respect in the genre, it would give him a much needed win with just that alone. And really what the lesson that Drake needs to learn from this record, if anything else, is that he needs to stop underestimating the intelligence of the audience. Because really, when you unpack this thing, it becomes clear that Drake thought he was going to cakewalk his way back into the center of the culture and drop off a mediocre freestyle over a beat that usually underground MCs like to rap over, and that would be enough. But just like other rappers who exploited how low the bar was for quality in the Drake era are now learning, more listeners than ever are fully awake and aware of the content they are digesting, and no longer can these half-baked songs and performances impress majority of the rap world like they once did. And now when it comes to what is at the center of this song beyond all of the optics that Drake was trying to trick us with in the first place, is unfortunately for Drake, one of the most stubborn and really embarrassing lyrical performances we have ever seen from someone coming off a beef this important, because the more I and so many others continue to read into all of the lyrics Drake is saying here, it just falls apart. And with how bad this song is, it really feels like from Drake we are getting the Heart Part 6 Part 2.
It wasn't, I explained this in my reaction, but I don't think it was a bad song. It sounds good. Sounds. And I gave the analogy that this is almost like, let's, like, if somebody did you completely dirty, did you foul, right? And then they made a song about the experience, and they were like trying to like gaslight you the whole time, or like manipulate or switch it, or turn everything upside down, and just keep sneak dissing and stuff like that. That's what it felt like. But the song was good, but the substance is not, because it's like, what are you talking about? And I'm saying that directly related to the stuff about the beef. The first person he was dissing, I don't know the ins and outs of that, so I don't know. You know, I don't know if it was LeBron, I don't know if it was DeMar DeRozan, I don't know. But I can't speak too much on that. But even like there was a line where he was like, niggas wasn't happy for me when I ran up the digits. And I was like, oh God. Like, that's just certain things was just like a little off putting, but like it sound good. Like it sounds like a, you know, it's just when you get into them lyrics that it just like the whole, everything switches up. So that's how I felt.
Too, because instead of this track doing anything to help Drake's image whatsoever, with one of the most basic and what is becoming one of the most redundant rhyming patterns possible from someone who actually calls themselves an MC, Drake does such things here like flexing the fact that he is suing an entire record label over the success of a diss song.
I don't I really didn't understand that line, to be fully honest. I was like, bro, what? But then it was like, again, it was that like up and down thing, because he was like, he gonna crash out because motherfuckers was talking about niggas' families and this and that and the third, and everybody going to prison, and he was talking about him too. And then he go and say this. And so it's just like, what the fuck? Are you fed? Or not? Because you're giving me mixed signals here. I don't know. And that's how I felt like when, after I did my reaction, I started looking at other people react to it. And it felt like, I mean, like people that actually were listening to the lyrics and, you know, with some common sense, that they would like hear a line that they were like, oh, that was hard. And then he would say something else and be like, what the fuck, bro? Like, and that is exactly how I felt. I was like, the wordplay, the metaphors, the double entendre is cool, but then you start talking and it don't make no fucking sense. And you keep contradicting yourself and you keep saying wild shit, and I didn't like that.
Favor. Then Kendrick Lamar and the success he's had and the entire perception of his victory will then be changed. Which now, before we dive into any other part of this track that is getting criticism right now, the fact that Drake really decided to rap about this as a flex is even more anti-hip-hop than him going about the action in the first place. Because while to make these claims is one horrible thing, but then to rap about this within a way like this is a typical thing that rappers say to try and up their competition is a whole other thing. Because seriously, just this whole moment of Drake rapping over a Conductor Williams beat where he is flexing about taking a rap beef to court, I mean, just saying that out loud makes it sound like it's not even a real thing. It is really that disrespectful to hip-hop culture as a whole. Saying that out loud doesn't even sound real, because it is that disrespectful to hip-hop culture as a whole, because it's really just laughing in the face of everything that this art form has ever represented. And I mean, beyond just this, Drake's descent into chaotic delusion does not stop here, because making this even bigger than Drake versus Kendrick Lamar or other rappers for that matter, he of course spends a lot of time on this track reflecting about the pop-out and the people who were once his friends that went there, and specifically from this, Drake focuses on calling out both DeMar DeRozan, but in the...
Okay, see, I'm not gonna lie, the only reason I knew it was LeBron was because other people said it was LeBron, but I didn't see nobody say DeMar DeRozan, so when I was listening, I was like, feel justified.
Greater magnitude LeBron James. As from the title of this track, which is mirroring the school LeBron played at, to lyrics in this track, which Drake seemingly designed to create all of his stands on social media to run around and say that Drake is going to expose LeBron James and all of the truth that we don't know about him to the public because LeBron chose Kendrick over him. And now with the biggest thing Drake has achieved with this track being that he has rallied his fan base into all thinking that he is going to expose LeBron James's hidden past. I mean, again, when you say...
But why? I mean, if you want to do it, I don't care. But then he just can't start crying when somebody exposes his. Because I'm not gonna lie, if somebody really like, I feel like dug deep into it and like violated NDAs and all types of stuff, it would be a whole different picture. When do the NDAs expire? Okay? We need to know the information.
Say these things out loud. It's not just laughable that this is where we are at, but again, Drake is so desperate to make any sort of moment in these songs that he's leaving lyrics that will then bait his fans to try and start these mass movements where they want to take people like LeBron down. And what's most funny about this all is that when it comes to Drake's entire ethos as a rapper, it is falling apart more than ever because of things like these. Because while Drake is dissing LeBron and trying to code this entire track to be some sort of a warning to him, no matter how much Drake tries to make LeBron look terrible, is he forgetting that he's also the guy who has the tattoo of LeBron on his arm? Which, funny enough, tying the title back to LeBron even more, it is the artwork of when LeBron was in school with the jersey that this song is seemingly titled after. So again, when we break this down and see why so many people are losing respect for Drake even more than they already have, as his biggest move is now trying to bait us into thinking a guy who he has a tattoo of on his arm is bad. Again,
I feel like also, like, the groups of people he's, like, dissing, their fan bases are crazy, and obviously it's going to be like mesh at some points where people are fans of both of these people, but then if they got to choose a side, or if they feel like they have to choose a side, then I feel like he's starting to like isolate himself even more, because I even saw it on TikTok where somebody was like, bruh, fuck you, Drake. They were like, I don't play about LeBron. Kendrick's fans, crazy. Like, Nicki fans, I remember they got mad because of the whole Lotto song, whatever. Crazy. LeBron, just the groups that he's going after, it's just very, very interesting on like a business decision, but he's probably saying fuck all that at this point, so whatever.
While Drake thinks he's making power plays, he is just making himself look weak and guilty, because how can you diss a guy the way he is if you literally permanently placed an image of him on your arm? I mean, it's just all so pathetic. And for the people who are defending Drake and saying that anything he does from this point forward is just gonna get criticized no matter what he does, that's just not true, because Drake could have really tried to write something about how it really feels to not just lose, but to also lose people who he thought were his friends. And if this performance was genuine and emotional, people would have resonated with it because it would feel relatable, but again, with the arrogance and delusion that Drake keeps living in here. For the people who have not continued to support him as his music has declined year over year, and he has just
jail jumpsuit, what the fuck
gotten more immature in the process, this song is just impossible to connect with because he's telling us about stories and moments that he is trying to put in one way, but the reality we have all seen from our own eyes just a few months ago is completely different. And I really feel like what Drake was trying to do here was make his Blueprint 2-like moment, which is what Jay-Z did after he lost the Nas beef, with a self-titled track from his album of the same name where Jay addressed the beef after having the biggest stain on his career from Nas handing him an L. But now the difference is between Drake and Jay is that while both of them lost, even in the Blueprint 2 song, Jay managed to somehow turn his L into an ego boost that pushed him into the next era of his career, and with Jay never backing away from what made him successful in the first place after he lost, it only pushed him to make more hit songs and drop more music that still reached the status quo of what people wanted to see from him. And meanwhile with Drake, from running away from everything he has ever stood for, to staying in this world of delusion where now this hole he has put himself into is so deep that he is now just responding to disses from songs Kendrick released months and months ago. And
maybe he doesn't want, because I was like, why not just release some freaking music, bro? But maybe he's nervous that it's not going to chart or something like that. Like, it's going to make him look, you know, because then people can use that as like, oh, they used it for his other songs when they like the highest placement for like that Housekeeping Nose song was like 82 on a Hot 100, and then No Face was at like 25 or something like that. And people were like, oh my god, what? I'm not always numbers focused, but he probably is. So maybe that's why he's leaking stuff, to just see what people say without having to be like, oh, well, this didn't even chart and whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Somehow with his responses being
it felt like Port Antonio. That's what it felt like. Is that on Apple Music?
So bad that now he's only validating Kendrick's claims further and further. Overall, Drake has really just never made himself look like a bigger joke than with this song. And if this is the moment that is starting off his 2025, and really now the bar for him is releasing songs that are the equivalent to the Heart Part 6, even all of these months after the shock and chaos that Kendrick Lamar caused, as now from Kendrick Lamar to the West Coast to now people like LeBron are all left laughing at Drake for just clapping back to them in some of the strangest, most delusional, and really just anti-hip-hop ways possible. Well, really, everything for Drake is just looking terrible, and somehow, when it seemed like things couldn't get worse as he closed out 2024 doing everything that just signaled against hip hop as a whole in its very principle, the worst part about this all is that Drake is now running back into the center of the genre with the same principles that he had on his stream with Aiden Ross, or when he decided to shock everyone by taking a rap beef to a place that no one ever has. And because of all of this, what is clear is that things are only going to get a lot stranger this year from Drake, because if this is how he's trying to enter a new year where he did just say it was going to be a new season for him and therefore give him a chance to take the top spot in the rap game once again, if this was the best idea he had to start off this new era, I don't even think we want to know how bad whatever else he has planned may be. And so now with all of this said,
That's the end of the video. But like for one, this would have been different. I feel like if he released this last year in July or June or something like that. But January 2025, like 8 months removed from like the beef. What are we doing? 7, 8 months, whatever the time period is. It just seems weird, and it don't hit the same. Too much has happened since. So to my, like, in my head, I'm like, it just would have been smarter if you just released whatever, like the Party Next Door album. Not like this is like, oh, we haven't seen him in so long. No, bro, he released music all summer. He has been on social media heavy, and the lawsuit stuff. So it's just like he can't just sit back and just disappear and release some freaking new music that is great. You know what I'm saying? Like he couldn't just take time for himself, and he keeps doing petty stuff, and it's just not working out for him. It's actually just making him look kind of ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. I want to hear the album with Party Next Door. Where is that? I don't like you when you act tough. You gonna make a nigga bring back. Anyways, y'all like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. Tell me what you think. Did y'all like the song or not? I don't know. Anyways, I'll see y'all in the next one.